What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions.
Then put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb, babe. I got you, babe. I got you,
Welcome out, everyone, all of you amazing decoders around the world, wherever you may be. My name is Logan, and this, of course, is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be breaking down and decoding reincarnation. Reincarnation Decoded. Boy, this one was a fun decode to do. Reincarnation Decoded. And I literally just put this together in a couple of days, folks, because this one just sucked me in. And I've had a lot of these slides in other decodes, but man, let me just tell you, this will be another gem. It will be. I know a lot of people are going to tune into this one because people are interested in this topic. Very big topic on the world stage. And I hope you liked my little intro. Tried to have fun with this little Looney Tunes going down in the hole. That's what this whole logo, I feel, means. And you have the single all-seeing eye say, hey, I got and played the song by Sonny, Bono, and Cher. I got you, babe. And how very fitting, because when you go and look at my Prison Planet Decoded, the very first one, which thanks everybody for tuning in and watching this one and supporting it. But I showed this song off, of course, made famous by GroundHog Day and Bill Murray, that great movie. I decoded that as well. But just the comedy with just Salvatore Bono, who wrote this song, is all about the prison planet. Like, I got you, babe. You're in my prison. So I decoded this. And, if you haven't seen my series, I have Prison Planet 1, 2, and 3, showing the exit in Prison Planet Part 2. But they're all great to watch, and I appreciate your support. But that's the very reason why I included that song, just to try to make it fun. Because what are you going to do, man? You got to just deal with life. And are we getting reincarnated back into this world that we're living in? Is that what goes on? Or is there a way out? Well, get strapped in, get settled in, folks. This is going to be another gem, I promise you. So let's get into the topics of conversation for this presentation. In the zero position, the intro, which is kind of what I'm doing now. I got you, babe. Number 1, calcium. Number 2, everlasting life. It's going to be an interesting one. And 3 will be the loop. Number 4, Mr. Anderson. I forgot to add in what did you see for number 5, so keep your comments coming. At the very end, you're going to see that anyway. And nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the first topic now. Calcium. Why calcium? It's tied to the reincarnation process, as I showed in my 42 Decoded. And if you haven't seen that, here it is. Check it out. A lot of people say this is one of the best ones I've done. A lot of great information. But nonetheless, the 42, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, etc., but it's tied to us and our bones and coming down here and living out a life in duality. Notice reincarnation is a 42 And that's going to lead to this element calcium. Now, it will lead to molybdenum, as I showed in my 42 Decoded. I'm going to be showing that in a few slides here. But notice, calcium has 20 protons. These are so important in decoding. So, if you're new, you're like, why would I take numerology and attach it to alchemy? Well, because we're made up of a lot of these elements, and I've been showing now, and many of you great decoders have also been showing how valuable these elements are in describing our reality and the makeup of the machinations of this reality. So calcium, remember, 99% of all calcium is found in the bones and the teeth. I showed this in my Manly P. Hall and how he was being used. But with his mother and father being a dentist and a chiropractor, it was just hilarious with him. Please check out my Manly P. Hall Decoded. But this calcium's got 20 protons tied to the word duality. You see? Keeping it just in Chaldean. Don't need to deviate away from Chaldean. And then if you say the word calcium, it's 21. So there's a variance here, but all we got to do is add in the word enter, which is enter the game of life, and we have the number 21. You see? So when you enter the game of life, you become a bag of bones. And you got teeth. And you got a skeletal structure. And you're now a physical being that's an avatar. And you're playing out a game called duality. And, this is some new decoding I want to show all of you. Those of you that love decoding and are an advanced decoder and you're using alchemy, this is another great way to find more gold nuggets in your decoding. You take the protons, 20, you add up the atomic weight or atomic mass, 42 on the left side of the decimal, and then you do the right side of the decimal. Usually is going to be 3 digits here, but if you give the most balanced version of this, it's 42.95. You add those 3 up, 20 plus 42 plus 95, you're going to get the number 157. And I know, and that's how I know this is accurate in decoding, because it goes right to the 64th element. How many codons in our DNA? 64. How many squares on a chessboard? 64. How many numbers in the ancient I Ching system? 64. How many numbers in the gene keys in the human design? 64. 64 is a big number. And the icon the Royal Society of Chemistry uses for the representation of this element, gadolinium, is the television screen. Which, if you go and research the gadolinium, it's going to say it was used to make the screens. That's just what they will say. That's why the television screen's there. But the comedy to tell you, the real clue is we're on a movie. We're in a movie. You're on television, The Truman Show. You're in it. And you enter the game of life and you become a bag of bones after you reincarnate. You enter. That's what this means right here. And then if you take the tarot to get the picture, just to solidify this is the 21st card in the tarot, the 21st card in the major arcana, and it's the world card. Got the 4 fixed signs of astrology, the oxline eagle man. It's in theology. Ezekiel 1 verses 10, coming down through the hole, becoming a bag of bones. As you reincarnate, 21. You enter, 21. Enter the dragon, if you haven't seen that decode. You enter the dragon wave, the magnetic and electric wave that we live under. It's all right there, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into the second topic now. We having fun yet? This one's going to be a woo. This one's going to be a doozy. We're going to get into some theology now, because is reincarnation part of the loop that you're stuck in or we're stuck in? Is it possible? That's what it means. The everlasting life. Because, reincarnation is a very controversial topic. Many religions despise that whole topic, especially Christianity. But anyway, everlasting life. I'm going to bring this scripture in right here. Now remember, Revelation 3 verses 16, which I've been saying over and over, it's talking about being lukewarm. That's exactly what you want to be, I feel, to win the game of life. But now we're talking John 3:16. How interesting. Revelation 3:16, the exit, John 3:16, telling you to put your faith in the Christ and you'll have everlasting life. This is from the King James Version, of course, but it doesn't matter what version you use. I'm going to find the code. The source code is going to be playing out anyway, no matter what version you use. The total is 480 for this scripture. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. 480, and bam, right off the bat, I'm going to bring that into the string of pi, because that's where the source code is found, a layer of it anyway. We make up the string of pi through our emotions. And 480 occupies 3 digits, of course, digit 104, 105, and 106. And if you add those 3 up, you're going to get the number 315. 315, which is a permutation of this number right here, the 153, which is what the IHS is. And then how many fish did the Christ catch with the apostles in John 21 verses 11? 153. You see? That's why Chaldean to me is a top dog cipher. If you want to decode theology and astrology and the machinations of the way this reality works, all you got to use is Chaldean. Bring it into the string of pi, bring it into the tarot, alchemy. And then this word yes is the 153. Why am I showing that? Well, I have a decode coming out on Yes Man. I'm gonna show a few slides. I didn't think I was gonna include this, but why not? Yes Man. And I love this movie. I love it. The whole story behind it. But you want to see how ridiculously scripted and coded this is? The word yes, tied to the IHS. It's also tied to, how about Yeshua? It's right there. And then an alternate spelling is this one right here. And then the way the Jesuits are going to spell it is that right there. They're going to use the I, but the I is going to be the Y. It's interchangeable. You can see the yes in all these. It's Jesus saying yes. Say yes to life. Say yes because the game needs players. And you know, the very ridiculously coded and scripted Jim Carrey is you just go right to his birthday. Being born on the 17th, remember gold and fish, they both equal 17. But he was born on January 17th, tied to the sun, the 117, the patterns of the sun. But here's his birth card, the 10 of diamonds. It is the operating system card along with the Queen of Clubs. It's the Jupiter card. It's the 36th card in the deck, and bam. So Yes Man is tied to Jesus Christ, which is tied to Jupiter, which could be the architect of this reality from a cosmology standpoint right there. But this to me is undeniable. I didn't notice it at first when I was watching this movie, which, you know, I was in my Society of Jesus, but behind the scenes, but it's just, you can't miss it. The yes. And he's got the Jesus Christ card. Right there, man. The fortune, and this is why this card's called the Fortunate Blessings card. Now you know why. It's just all funny, man. I can't stop laughing at all this kind of stuff. But it's right there. It's the 153 yes, and the IHS is tied to the Christ, and right there, the 480 found from John 3:16. So say yes to everything. That way your life gets really complicated and you'll then probably end up being reincarnated again. But let's break down the scripture. Because we're going to have fun with this, ladies and gentlemen. What else am I going to do? John 3:16. Now, I had to modify this a little bit because it'll reduce it down to the 7. But keeping the numbers in our most authentic expressions, John 3:16 is the 37. And I thought was really interesting to see John is 18. He baptized Jesus. Jesus is the same outcome. The 18th card in the tarot is tied to the moon. The moon's the god of sin, removing your sins. So there's something with the moon there. But nonetheless, the 37 was really a big deal with this John 3:16 because it's tied. Here's the original spelling from the Society of Jesus now, and they're obviously heavy hitters with the Jesus character because they defend it. But it's the Hebrew gematria, the 316, which is going to reduce down to the 37. But remember, the 316th day of the year in leap years is November 11th, which is 1111. So if you're seeing 1111, now you know what it's tied to. But if you just keep going, if you reduce it down, you're going to get to the 37 through the most authentic expressions of the Hebrew alphabet. Because there's only 22 letters there. So it gets to the 37, and it's tied to John 3:16. You see? So this is very closely knitted here with this source code, using the Hebrew spelling of it tied to the Society of Jesus. It's Society of Jesus, Roman Catholic. Roman Catholic just means Judaism. But anyway, that's for a different story. Go check out my Society of Jesus Decoded. But let's get into the recycle process, right? Recycle. Recycle is 22, same as Michael, same as Dragon. But we're going to bring pi into this now. Now we're going to get into that loop. We're going to get into that loop in the everlasting life loop. So this is the only anomaly I've ever found in pi, and I've studied it high and low. Now, maybe if you found something beyond what I'm showing here, if you can find something different in the same kind of mannerism, I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com. But this is the only anomaly I have found, and I'm going to show you a deeper meaning of this, because many of you have played around with this. And what I'm about to show you, man, are some heavy truth bombs. So here we go. So 37, I feel, obviously, is the big head honcho here. Okay? With this John 3:16. And, the 37, if you go to numerology, just so we can be really crystal clear, but going to numerology, you're going to see it's tied to the words eye in the sky. Alan Parsons' project, I am the eye in the sky, looking at you. I can rule your mind, read your mind, all that kind of good stuff. But nonetheless, the 37, I feel, is a very important number to start with here. And it appears at the 46 decimal digit. 46 and 47, we're going to be breaking that down. But so we go and we add the 46 here. And what's really interesting about the 46th day of the year is February 15th, and that's the birthday of the creator of The Simpsons, Matthew Groening. And he's got the 10 of diamonds card as well. That's February 15th, the 46th day of the year, 10 of diamonds card, just like Jim Carrey. But anyway, the 46 is going to be right there, and it appears at the 19th decimal digit, 19 and 20. So now we have 37, 46, 19. And then what about that 19? Well, the last and third part of this equation here, this anomaly, 19 appears at 37. So it's just a loop, 37, 46, 46, 19, 19, 37. And it just goes around. This is the only anomaly that I've ever found. So I feel this has a lot of merit. And I feel like, being tied to the putting faith in the Christ, and you'll have everlasting life. Well, does everlasting life just mean you're going to get stuck in the loop and you ain't getting out? Because remember, the game needs players. So think about just logic for a second now, ladies and gentlemen, right? Is that you're talking about the most popular character on the world stage, the most talked about, the most preyed upon, the most revered, the most popular. To get you involved in this concept, to get you perhaps recycled back into the game. And this is the source code right here. And we live under the source code, because numbers and symbols run our reality, amongst so many other things. But how would you be able to get more players to come into the game? By putting their faith in a character that's the most popular. That's how you would reestablish the earth again. Recycle. These are just theoretical concepts here, but let's just use logic and discernment by looking at the source code. And this is really a big deal, but let's keep going. I got more to show you. Because this symbol right here fits right inside, bam, right inside that recycle logo. And I'm going to show you the guy who created it. But what do you see right there? Well, that to me is undeniable, which of course the dollar bill, and a lot of these people on the world stage, they make this shape. Well, now you know what it means, folks. It's tied to the everlasting life, the recycle process. Oh, you bet your bottom dollar it does. This is not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole and fudge anything. This is absolute right here. This all-seeing eye, the eye of providence, fits right inside that recycle logo. And wait till I show you a little bit more about that. But let's get into the Unicode for this. This one freaking blew me away, folks. You ready to have your jaw on the floor? Here we go. If you weren't already, so the Unicode, the computer code to type this symbol in. You get the white one and the black one. It's U and plus 2670. These are like shortcuts on the keyboard to type this into the computer. It's U2672 or U plus 267B for the black one. So I decided to break them down. And lo and behold, they're both 23s. And think about what I'm showing you now here. It's tied to this right here, blood. So if we were going to get recycled back into the game, you'd get an avatar and you'd have blood pumping through you. But the biggest takeaway for this, the biggest one of them all, was this. Because you know that statement, history repeats itself. What is this all about? I mean, the word crown equals 23. That's the royal star of the lion tied to Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic demiurge, tied to the sun, tied to the house of Leo and Regulus and astrology. But history repeats itself, and it's tied to the Unicode of this symbol. Say it isn't so. Coincidence? And what about it's 617? What about that? Oh, you think that was pretty good? How about this one? Bringing the 617 into the string of pi, look at what digits it occupies. 886, 887, and 888. And you might be thinking, okay, yeah, the 888's pretty a big deal. Well, it most certainly is, because there you go. The Greek spelling of Jesus is 888 in the Greek isopsophy, which is their version of the gematria / numerology. It's the 888. So obviously you can see that the source code that's playing out behind our code, that we're like language and we're speaking spells and typing stuff out, this is playing out, and where mankind's being used, folks. And perhaps just waking up to this, maybe you get a little bit more leniency to move around. I don't know. But this to me is undeniable. I mean, using pure math, a string of pi, found from the Unicode, both being the 617, and you get the 888 and the original Greek isopsophy of the Jesus character, which I feel the Greeks invented, which actually was invented by Rome, but that's for a different story. It's the 888. The 888. And of course, that's going to be 24, and Jesus in Greek, Greek ordinal's 24, and 24 is, 24 is tied to the X, and so many different ways to look at this. But the word church equals 24. But so many ways to look at this. But let's get into the next topic now, the actual loop. I'm going to break down the loop now like I've never broken it down before, because we're talking about reincarnation. And this has a lot of merit. So the loop, what does the loop mean? Let's start with this shape here. So this shape right here is world renowned. It's world known. I mean, you probably have seen it. If you're somebody who recycles your trash, it's probably on one of your blue bins or green bins or whatever color you got, wherever you are in the world. This is a world renowned symbol here. And obviously in the very middle, that's what fits in there, I feel. It's a dead giveaway, is that all-seeing eye, the eye of providence right there. And then you get the loop, which I've shown, but I'm going to extend on this now. Okay, so this is a little advanced decoding, but ladies and gentlemen, you got to go deep, man. You can't just stay on the surface to figure this stuff out. So it is 193746, but there's two digits. Each one of these occupies two digits. So it's 46 and 47, 19 and 20, and 37 and 38. So when we do that, here it is right here. We're going to add these up, and then we're going to get a single digit once we do that. And when we do that, there they are. There's the finalized outcomes for the double digits that these numbers end up being in this anomaly in pi. 75, 93, and 39. And keep in mind, if you reduce these all the way down, 75 is 12, 93 is 12, and 39 is 12. And what's 12 plus 12 plus 12? Well, it's 36. And this right here, that's 36. Remember, Jim Carrey had the 36 card in the deck. The Jesus man. He probably doesn't even know this. I hope one day he sees it, but I just think it's funny, man. But anyway, and it's 333, 12, 12, 12, but it actually will be 333. And you can, trust me, if you want to decode the 333, finding the sine and cosine waves, folks, have at it, man. It goes deep. Okay? The 333 goes really deep. It's the hierarchy of the 33 and the 3, which is pi. But nonetheless, we're going to now move into primes. Because you see, primes is really another stronghold in the mathematical equations of what makes up this reality. So what I decided to do is find out the primes for all three. So we start here, start on the left. We'll just start with the 19. 19 appears at the 37th and 38th decimal digits. 38 and 37 equals 75, and the prime number for that is 379. 379 is the 75th prime. We do the same thing for the 46 occupying digits, 19 and 20. It's 39. 167 is the 39th prime number, and then we do the same for the 37 of occupying digits, 46 and 47, which is going to give you 93. 487 is the 93rd prime number. Now, you ready for this drum roll, ladies and gentlemen? So when you add them all up, you get 1,033, which is a prime number itself, not just any prime number, folks. It's the 174th prime number. And you know what that means. Bam! It's tied to Lucifer. So the recycle process, tied to the Christ, obviously, the everlasting life. It's also tied to the light bringer. And does this mean that Jesus and Lucifer are one and the same? Many people think so now. But whether or not they're one and the same, or that's the yin yang, they still are the machinations of this reality. Jesus and Thomas, and we're going to get into that in a second, but nonetheless, here it is. It's, the 71st element, lutetium. I mean, it says to, win the game of life. If you type that in, it's going to give you 71. You got to know these layers, but here it is, the 174, Manly P. Hall, Secret Teachings of All Ages. The numbers of Lucifer are 741. It's right there. I mean, it's Lucifer, Lucy in the sky with diamonds. You can't miss it. So there you go. So the recycle process is tied to Lucy and Lucifer. And then the 75 is the other dead giveaway, because, the 37 and 38 add up to the 75, which, remember, is the everlasting life of the Christ. And it's tied to this element right here called rhenium. Rhenium has the highest melting point of all elements. All of them, all 118 that we know about. It's the highest melting point. And the dead giveaway is the atomic mass of rhenium, 186. What's the speed of light measured at in a vacuum? 186,000 miles per second. It's right there. And what is the speed of light tied to? The light bringer, Lucifer. So you can see that the game of life is designed around light. And, if you're a light worker, well, you're going to be tied to Lucifer. I know some of you are not going to like to hear that, but this is what the source code's telling us. This is what the source code is telling us. And, again, we go to here. This is my 42 decoded. This is off of one of the slides. And the reason why I'm showing this is because if you take 75 plus 93 plus 39, you're going to get 207. And that goes to this slide right here, and you go to this element right here called lead. Lead's tied to Saturn. Saturn's the father of time, Chronos, which probably runs the light somehow, some way. But there's the 207, it's lead. Lead to gold. But the biggest takeaway was taking 42 digits into the string of pi and then adding them up. And it was a 207 outcome. And the 42 is tied to reincarnation. So you can see, to me, this is absolute in my reality, is that the 207 being tied to lead represents mankind. 42, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, reincarnation, Wonderland, crucifixion. They're all 42 in the same Chaldean cipher, are found from this loop right here. The only anomaly I've ever found. And this is tied to Lucifer, the light bringer, and it's tied to Jesus, both. And we can't leave any of them out. We can't just be like, oh, that doesn't pertain. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, where are we going to use some logic and discernment here? That the everlasting life in John 3:16 is tied to that 37, and the 37 and 38 is tied to the 75, and the 75 is tied to the speed of light, and the light bringer is Lucifer. So these are absolutes in my book. I don't know about you, but these are absolutes in my book. Right there. But let's get into the last topic now to finish off this presentation. Thanks for sticking with me on this one. This one's, man, I'm telling you, this one I'm getting closer, folks. And I think this one just really was the nail in the coffin for getting close. But anyway, let's get into the Mr. Anderson. You know Mr. Anderson. And of course, his first name was Thomas. Thomas was Jesus's twin brother. The two twins coming down into Praseodymium, 59. Why Mr. Anderson? Because it was Mr. Anderson right here who was the creator. There it is. He's got the drawing right there on the table. He was a Scottish dart player. Of course, a dartboard representing the zodiac wheel, and it's just hilarious. But his name was Gary Dean Anderson. His last, is that a coincidence? I mean, were the Wachowski brothers, were they aware of Gary Anderson and the recycling symbol that he created? And that's why they named the character Neo Thomas Anderson. I mean, come on, folks. Anderson creates the recycle process tied to Lucifer and the Christ. So John 3:16, talking about having everlasting life by putting your faith in that character and that idea, is a match to this word right here, I-mouth, which is, ironically, the city at which Gary Anderson was born in. So how about that? Tied to, eye in the sky. So it just keeps going, because then you look at his birthday. This is all I could find on the guy. He's born on January 1st, the 1-1. In 1947, Tetragrammaton, tied to titanium, the Titans. But he's got this card right here. The King of Spades, the immovable, powerful King of Spades, the King of the Earth. And it's tied to this element right here, which means earth, from the Latin spelling tellus, tellurium. 127 is a prime number, the 31st of all, tied to gallium and the rooster and Saturn. But nonetheless, this is the icon they use for tellurium, representing earth, of course. And, what is this whole thing all about? It's recycling, and it's helping Mother Nature, Mother Earth. But the 52 is the dead giveaway and the comedy. The pure comedy, stand-up, is the recycling. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Reincarnation. Tied to the recycle symbol from this dude in his birthday. This is the 52nd card in the deck. Come on, what are the odds? What do you think the odds would be? See, I just gotta have fun with this now, because there's no other way to look at this. We live in a scripted reality. And here's the last slide before I ask what you see. Let's do his name numerology. Gary Dean Anderson, it's a 54. And 54 is tied to the Xenon, which, remember, in They Live, it was the broadcast, the hypnotic trance being broadcasted by News Station 54. And it's tied to Pink Floyd, because Xenon has a weight of 131. And remember that song Brain Damage off of the great album 1973, Dark Side of the Moon? There's someone in my head, but it's not me. Yeah, what do you think was in his head to create this logo? And what do you think this pyramid, where do you think this pyramid's going to fit? Right inside there. What do you think this is? This is called the prism. A prism, a prison. You see, ladies and gentlemen? There's someone in my head, but it's not me. See the comedy? I mean, what else do we to do with this? As you can see, the guy's got the 52nd card of the deck tied to Prison Planet, creates this logo, which is the reincarnation, the recycle, getting recycled, the reincarnation process. Prison is 26, planet is 26, magnetic is 26, electric is 26. We live in an electromagnetic universe. 26 is iron, it's in our blood. And this guy right here, man, there's someone in my head, but it's not me. Folks, this is the source code. This is it. And the last slide I have is this one right here. So in the Greek, John 3 verses 16, it's not going to say everlasting life. It's going to say eternal life. And eternal life in the Greek is a double 28. Of course, Lucifer equals 28. Architect equals 28. But it's a 56. And that's, the speed of light's 56. Lights, camera, action. See, we're in a movie, folks. You're inside of a freaking movie. It's a simulation, a holographic movie. And it runs in cycles, golden age to dark age, and it repeats. And when you get to the tail end of the cycle, all of this stuff starts to get exposed. Like the Tower of Babel. Like when they went all the way to the top, then that's when mankind got scattered around the earth. The same thing's going to happen, I think, with all this information. Is it we're finding it because we're supposed to. But then what happens after that? Well, the game resets, the movie starts over, and a fresh set of scripts come out. That's how I think of it anyway. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. I hope it was eye-opening for you. I hope you really got some nuggets out of this one, and you can take this and use it for your own decoding. These are my absolutes, my truths, and I'm not going to deviate away from this, because this to me is the source code playing out and telling us the story. So anyway, I'd love to hear what you saw during this presentation. Keep your comments coming. If you're going to leave comments, don't just put 10 in a row. Try to condense your comments down for the benefit of everybody. I love the comments, but try to keep your comments condensed into your comment that reply to your own comment. And if you have a lot of stuff to say, it's all good. I don't mind that, but just try to do that. But I'd love to hear what you saw. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Thanks each and every one of you for your Patreons, your donations, your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, we will see you later.